just get a 3, 2, 1?
We did.
Hello.
We're on.
Hello.
Hello, ladies and gents. My name's Robbie Turner. Welcome to another episode of Axon's live Q&A. Now, got my old faithful here with me. You're younger than me.
Hang on a sec.
We've got Ryan, but mate, you and I have got an amazing guest presenter here with us today. The amazing, the wonderful, the crazy, the beautiful Caitlin Wilkinson. Hello. Give us a high five, buddy.
Oh, there you
Welcome
go.
to almost said
God, I felt like I reached.
Axon's Unleashed then, because that's what I do when we have podcast guests come in. But no, this ain't a podcast. This is a Facebook Live.
Correct.
I
We
love
are
it
live.
that you have been so willing to jump in front of the camera lately. I love the click video. Tell me
Yeah,
you've seen the click video,
snapping.
ladies and gents, the snap video, snap, click, whatever it is. I actually put a little post up there going, I now relinquish my duties in front of the camera now that we've got you.
No. No.
Robbie and I don't need to do that stuff anymore. We've got a star. Look.
Yes,
No,
there it
no.
is. There's a
Oh
little
my
quick
gosh.
video. Love it. Watch that one, ladies and gents. Go all the way to the end. Angie Paradise is saying hi. So listen, this is how it works. This is we do have a couple of notes here because we don't want to miss out on some of the really key events that has occurred in Axon over the last 30 days. And of course, Caitlin, you're here for a reason.
Yes.
We want people to learn more about the whole experience they're going to have with building a house with us.
Yep, my knowledge.
Your knowledge and your skills and your attributes. So
It's
we're
there somewhere.
looking forward to going through all of that. So you guys ask the questions. We'll be able to let you know what's going on, but we've got a sort of few things to fill you in along the way as well. So write your comments in the comment there. So that's where we know, you can basically connect with us and away we go. So, mate, it was the 14th. When I say mate, I'm talking about you.
Me?
I can't
Am
talk.
I the mate?
Like,
Oh, right.
they're all my mates as
Oh,
well.
I thought
but
I was the
we've
mate.
got no idea he's even bloody watching. So, 14th of August was the last time we did
I
one of
know,
these, so
yeah.
pretty much a month ago.
Yep.
When there's been so much happening in Axon since then. So let me just sort of rattle a few things off. We had the Perth meetup. Luke and I went across to that.
You and
Bit of-
Luke would not stop talking about it
bit of
before you left.
UFC bloody action as well. Damo's had his 5-year anniversary.
Correct.
How
Holy
good's that?
smokes.
5
Amazing.
years. Dave Simpson's 6-year anniversary is coming up in a few weeks' time. James, your amazing husband, has had his 4-year anniversary. Can you
Husband.
believe that? Husband/colleague.
Colleague.
And Kelly, one of your colleagues there, Kelly's had her 1st-year anniversary.
Yes.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
She's been here for a year already.
We're certainly,
Wow.
she's almost been here as long as you. Catching you anyway. No,
No, she's already called me, mate. She's out.
Mate, time flies
Yeah,
when
right.
you're here.
Yes, there she is. And
You're
one of the
right. Oh,
things
there we
that,
go.
that's Fran and Kelly. One of the things I loved about this month is that when we were over in Perth for the meetup/UFC,
Not me. I didn't
not
get a
you,
call
when
up.
we,
Just the UFC. That's all
you
they
were
want to
here
talk about.
effectively representing Axon with Simo and a few other people at the Vet Games.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was a really enjoyable weekend. As some might know, we've been a founding sponsor for Vet Games. They're in their 2nd year, and we were absolutely on board to go out there again and spend the weekend, just supporting the defence community, giving it their all in all the tasks and exercises and comps that they do. And I think we had the tent there for 2 days. I think most of the Axon were out there
There we go. There's
each
you and
day.
Dave.
And it was just a really great day to meet defence people and also speak to we've got the vendor area where there's other sponsors and other supporters of Vet Games providing their support to the people and to defence as well.
Yeah, great. You've actually made a comment that so James was out there one of the days
Yes,
with one of the other employees, team members, Kelly, I think it was, and he's like he went and spoke to some of the other vendors that were there, and he's now receiving services as a veteran from them. So how did that make you feel?
Yeah, like really, really good because it's not really wide knowledge sometimes when there is other, vendors there or someone that can help other veterans. So to have a safe space like this that is there to help other veterans, serving members, that kind of thing. It's just amazing, to be honest. It's absolutely amazing. So, yeah, really,
And
really
the
good.
scale of it's so impressive. Like the growth from the first year is unbelievable. I think they had 100 competitors out there this year.
And I think
Which
40
was-
last year.
Yeah, and about 40. So
Yeah.
a huge turnout.
Wow.
Far more vendors getting on board. So yeah, the trajectory of the Vet Games is looking really healthy.
I can tell you right now the vision for Heston Russell, who's the founder of the Vet Games, another one of my recruits, well, cadets I should say, from down at Duntroon back in the day. His vision to be able to take this global is going to be fucking massive. So if you're thinking about getting on board and creating a team or being a sponsor or whatever that sort of looks like, go to Vet Games website, check it all out. Hesto's a really good mate of mine, a massive fan of Axon and, one of our sort of tactical and strategic partners, which I love. Hesto, FYI, I love saying things for the first time ever on a Facebook Live. I tried one of your coffees. So
Yes.
Thunderstruck
Yeah.
coffee.
Yep.
I ordered a little sample bag. Nice. I believe I had the dawn attack this morning at dawn, and it was fucking beautiful. So get onto that if you like your bloody coffee. That is a free plug. He did not know I was about to say that, but thanks,
I'll give him another plug. I actually bought his children's book as well.
Oh, wonderful.
So I read that to my two the other night. It's about a little puppy, and it's a really cute book. So well done, Hester. Nice. Yeah, my kids loved it.
Karina's in the house. She's saying hi. Shay Lowe, who's the solicitor that we use, she's like, 5 years for me. Does that count? Absolutely, it bloody counts. I love that. I love it. Kelly's saying, yippee, welcome to the live, Caitlin. Tammy's saying the coffee was good, and that is a big call. Right. Yeah, I make her a coffee. I go to the gym in the morning. It's like coffee, gym, come back, she's still sleeping. Well, the dogs normally wake her up when I'm walking up the stairs. And coffee, it gets shoved in front of her there. And then for her to say it's a good coffee is a bloody massive compliment because she is fussy. Now, something else that we did this month, we're going to get to you, I promise. Right?
Oh, that's fine. I'm good.
Something else we did this month, in fact, we did it last week. You and I would have just flown back in literally about an hour ago, last Wednesday, before we coached again that night.
Yep.
We went to Melbourne for a trip.
48 hours with Robbie Turner in Melbourne.
And
that's
survived.
That's a lot.
My batteries were low.
Oh, bloody hell. That's a tough crowd, let me tell you. That's us at the Melbourne meetup earlier in the year. But we were down there. We weren't there doing a Melbourne meetup. But it's widely known now. We've been talking on these Facebook Lives for a couple of months that the pivot that Axon has now put towards there is one of the amazing houses that one of our clients built in Melbourne. There's no doubt about that.
Wow.
We have now pivoted to Melbourne as well as the Southeast Queensland market, as well as sort of the Hunter and Newcastle region for those that are applicable to. And, you as your, long career as a town planner, been at Axon client, what did you discover when you went down to Melbourne?
For me, and I've said this a couple of times to a few different people, is just the sheer scale of the development that's going on down there. And we spoke to a few of our tactical partners down there as well. And, if you think about a place in Southeast Queensland, a master plan community up there that we've taken clients to, the growth corridors in Melbourne have got 5 or 10 of those. So the level of development, and what I really like, diving deep into the Melbourne planning stuff is they've got this concept called the 20-minute community or the 20-minute area or livable city or whatever.
Catchment zone sort of thing.
Yeah. And they really create these master plan communities where people can walk a maximum of 20 minutes and they get access to transport, all the services, schools, daycares, everything that they need. And it's at the forefront of their planning schemes, which is you drive around and you go, yep, cool, there it is. It's actually checks out. It's all there. And they're pumping so much priority and funding into that it's actually being developed, first and foremost as before they start doing the houses. Unlike
Sydney, that's very land constrained. It's constrained. And even like Brisbane to a certain degree. Melbourne, especially when you're going to the northern and the western corridors, can just keep going. Which means it's got room to move and room to grow. Let me give you a quick little stat for free, ladies and gents. In the northern and western growth corridors of Melbourne, based on the Office of Economic Growth down there and the stats, there's due to be 3.4 million people living in those two corridors, which is more than the whole state of Australia, of South Australia combined.
Wow.
So when we're talking about, and this is by 2040, 15 years' time, which I'm 30 years older than you. What am I? 20 years older than you. So almost by the time you get to my age, carry the two, add a couple. You'll be another person that works at Axon that can be one of my daughters because you're the same age almost as my son. It's going to be upon us before we know it, I guess that's what I'm saying. So the time is right now from a value for money and growth expectation point of view. There's plenty more where that came from a Melbourne perspective.
And it's an incredibly important stat because we talk about demand versus supply and land availability, right? And someone might think, if there's hectares and hectares of developable land, there may not be the demand for it. But when you look at the projected growth, the population growth of Melbourne, and also how it's performed over the last sort of 20 to 30 years, it's a bit of a no-brainer at the moment to pivot and start to take some clients down there as well.
So I reckon we've got probably, 15 or so EOYs that have already been dropped down there for the builds to start soon. There's a couple of builds that are already underway, which is part of the reason why we went down there to have a look at that build. So, and one of them that's just recently been completed. So there's more to come in the Melbourne space. So we don't mind sharing that with you. Now, rest assured, so I've given you very generic corridors, like we've got the northern and the western growth corridor up here in Brisbane, but not every suburb's the same. not every estate is the same. So you do need to go down to that tactical level to really understand and get the very best outcome. Because we've done the deep dive. We're like, nah, we'll give that one, even though it's in the corridor, we'll give that one a miss because the rental yields are not quite the same. Or the builders that are working in there don't have a very good name, so we're going to give that one. So it's almost like services and gaps to discount what does or doesn't going to apply there. So we're still not giving away any trade secrets per se. But hey, those that are inside the Axon wire will give you everything you need to know.
Absolutely.
That's enough about us. Let's now switch to you, superstar.
Okay. Let's go. Finally, some good topics.
One of the different topics. One of the things we just spoke about is that James' 4-year anniversary has occurred in the last few weeks. So that means about 4 and a bit years ago, James was down here doing a bit of on-the-job training as he was thinking about separating from the military. You were clearly by his side at that time.
Yep.
So take us through, to tell everyone now a quick little sort of history lesson on, we met up in Darwin, just what your initial thoughts were of Axon and how the fuck have you now sitting here with your Axon cape on?
Mate, I actually can't believe it. I feel like as I look back and think 4 years ago, James first started out, that's crazy. But so for people that don't know me or my clients that aren't on the call or are on the call, whoever, they've heard this spiel before. Good. But yes, 2019 was when James reached out to Axon and we became a client of Axon's. I was not keen at all. I 100%. I did not want to go through with this. I thought Axon and Robbie was dodgy, so I was
Me too, mate. Me too.
You only get one chance at a first impression. I don't think I nailed it with either of you, but hey, I'm playing the long game.
I think the first impression was
that young James is there, and you.
Holy moly!
Wow!
They're babies.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. So we reached out, and yes, we became Axon clients. We built our first investment property, which was amazing. And that was in 2020. That was when I actually done my first Facebook Live for Axon as a client with James. That was fun. And then 4 years later, James has become a property specialist here, and I got offered a job in 2022. A very bad interview, might I add.
It's funny because we'd become mates at that time.
Yes, we
plenty
had.
of crazy days, plenty of crazy nights.
Oh,
and then me and Tammy are like, all right, Caitlin's a bloody awesome chick. Maybe she might want to come and, you weren't happy at your other workspace.
Correct.
So we went across the road to Cafe Catalina. Hope the microphone's a bit better now, ladies and gents. Thanks for the live feedback. And you were so nervous.
I was.
For no reason. Little Theo was tiny. You just had him.
Yes, I was just coming off maternity leave from our third baby, and yes, I was very nervous because, you guys were my friends as you just said, and
We still
James,
are.
we are. We are. But no, James worked for the business, and you guys are my friends, and I didn't want to disappoint. Whilst yes, I can talk the talk and I can walk the walk, I still went, oh shit, what if I'm shit? So yeah, I kind of retreated.
You didn't turn
a
out to be
little bit.
that shit.
No, I'm fucking awesome. First F-bomb for the live. Sorry, guys.
When you are on song and when you are just bouncing off the walls in the office like you were today, the world is a better place. I love
100%.
it when you're able to do that.
100%.
We've all got our good and bad days.
Yeah.
You have very few bad days, which
Yeah.
means that's why I love hanging around you so much.
Yeah, and just stay away in the bad days. But no, you and I are the same. We've got our energy levels are just top tier.
And we both grew up in country South Australia.
100%.
Fucking shout out for country. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Jeez, now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
I was also born in South Australia, just so you know, Ryan.
Yeah, you need to work on your energy levels, though.
How we said that? I also grew up there. But no, honestly, I just think that after that interview and becoming a build support coordinator, I think that it just opened my horizons for how I guess my life just changed. I think that the moment James came into Axon, our life changed for the better as clients, as an employee. But now me coming in on board, it's just been amazing.
Tell me at the philosophical level.
Oh,
that's an opposite word, isn't it?
We need that buzzer.
Generically. Sorry, I'll go back a bit.
okay.
Don't mind saying that, and both of you are obviously included in this. The master stroke that Tamara and I decided to do from a recruitment and employment and deliverance of service is to have almost everyone that is client facing has been a client. Because here's the thing, the stakes are super high. People are not coming to us just buying a handbag, even though you can buy fucking very expensive handbags, can't you, Caitlin? Yes.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, we're flirting with people's financial futures, and building a house and going through the experience as you did with a client comes with a variance of emotions.
Oh, yeah.
So to have people that are delivering the service that have been in their shoes before just makes so much more sense from a relatability perspective.
Yeah.
From a genuine, and you would not be sitting here with your Axon capes on. That's the second time I've called it a cape. It is a cape. It's a superpower when you've got this thing
I'm
on.
going to get a cape actually made now.
I believe you.
If your experience with us didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
That's a statement to make, right?
Absolutely.
How much do you love it when you're there literally telling your quick little story about, hey, how you got to be here, and people are like, oh yeah, you now know what it's
Yeah.
like. Tell it. Like, do they literally just sink in their chairs and they feel so much more comfortable?
Yeah, I think so. I bring it up at the Build Support introduction with the clients that are new to the Build Support lane, and when I say, hey, I've been on both sides of the screen. I've been in where you're sitting right now. I've been the client, and I've now been the coordinator. And I ask, how do you want this journey to go? Because journeys just go in different ways. You may need something different than what I needed as a client. As a client, I was like, don't talk to me unless I need to do something, which is awesome because Axon done it all for me. But no, I think that it helps their level of trust.
Yeah, you adapt it to whatever they need. Yeah,
Definitely,
absolutely. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so good. Let me just break for a second. So, I'll go back. Tammy said, haha, Caitlin couldn't make eye contact with me in an interview. That's absolutely right. Kelly's like, haha, yes, you are. Caitlin, love you so dearly. I'm sure she loves you the same, Kel. Caitlin was hyper today. Haha, it was great. Karina Bond even. I missed the CW vibe. I can't wait for KB to come in.
Oh, I know.
Talking about weapons. Ocean going. Nuclear class, absolute amazing
Build
person
support
that
weapon.
you will come in here and do that stuff. Shay Lowe said, I love how Robbie's using the example as a handbag. Handbag as an example. But I'm just trying to think, what's the most expensive thing I know besides a house? Women's handbags.
Don't put me in that category.
We would know nothing about that. Anyway, so yeah, keep the chats coming. I'm loving this. So tell me, as a Build Support coordinator, you are from land settlement, all the way through until the keys are handed over, and then a hot wash afterwards.
Yes, correct.
So let's just dissect that a little bit, right?
Yeah, okay.
In the first instance, what's the thing you love the most about that whole journey? Just take us straight there.
Straight there, the milestone of practical completion and getting tenants in your property. That's undeniably my favorite part of the build for the clients, because it's that part, it's the last step, it's the last puzzle piece. And yes, we can appreciate that you guys being our clients. Oh, that's me. That yes, the tenants are paying interest during the build, and it's not fun. We got to do it. I don't like doing it in the best of days, but it's the moment when there's that signed lease in place and handover is occurring that I'm like, yes, girl, we have survived, and we've got the build handed over.
You're officially a property investor at that point, right?
You're officially a landlord.
A landlord, property investor. Point to note, you remember you pay $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 less in stamp duty at land settlement, and you probably pay around about that much throughout the build, depending on exactly what the time frame is. So it's pretty much a zero-sum game, but to your point, when you're paying interest on that loan and you're getting towards the end, you're like, just fucking get me a tenant.
Get me a tenant. Yep.
Probably don't have to say fuck, but just find me a tenant, not just any old tenant. This is something else I love about the process, right? Mm-hmm. Say there's 2 or 3 applicants that the property manager has found suitable. Yeah. What happens then? Talk us through how you coach our clients into choosing the right one.
Well, we rely a lot on, the Build Support coordinator, but we also rely on the subject matter experts at that time, which are the property managers. So, they are very diligent when it comes to the applications, when it comes to affordability, rental references, and history. So we know that when they are putting forward an application to the client, it is a no-brainer. Like, you're going to look at these applications and you're going to go, what is that best fit?
But what if there's 2 or 3 really good applications? How do you inject yourself in the conversation? Like, do you go for, three university students, or do you go for a mum and dad with no pets as opposed to pets, or with kids or whatever else, or really have a bias towards that?
Yeah, well, when it comes to pets, a lot of our clients do go, oh, I don't really feel good with pets, and that's perfectly fine. Some people don't feel that way. However, we do have the RTA laws that we do need to abide by, so we can't go, oh no, you're out because you got a pet.
Correct.
But we are going to do what's best for our clients and what they feel is the right thing. So yes, whilst I can sit here and help guide you along the way with what's the best application to choose, ultimately it is the client's decision. But, we are here to help, and generally 9 times out of 10, whenever a application comes through and it is a family, our clients are always like, I would love to give that family a home.
So you've got your property manager, but then essentially the build supporter providing another layer, another filter in that processing of applicants to support the client into finding the right tenant that meets their property and their price point.
Mate, I've had clients come back to me. They're like, hey, RT, we've just got these tenants and, these are the 2 options. Which one do you reckon I should choose? Do you know what I do? I read the email out to the build support team and say, which one should we choose?
And we yell across the room, tell them to message me back.
Ryan, let's take us through to your builds. You built your own home with Amana in Newcastle there when you guys were still posted. What was the bit about the build that got you the most excited? Because even though you were living local, you just had a complete hands-off experience and we managed it for you from afar.
Yeah, it was completely hands-off. I think I don't even know if I was in Australia at that point. I was, newborn, don't know where I was, can't remember, but I'd certainly know the day that it was complete. So it's that practical completion, obviously not tenants because it was owner-occ, but the day that it was complete and we could go out and grab the keys, that's as your own home, that's the big moment.
Yeah.
What I thought you were going to say as we were discussing this earlier today was like, because when you're in the coach's lane and when you're in the property specialist lane, all the way up to land settlement, all the way up to building approval, it's a paperwork activity.
Paper. Yeah.
Nothing tangible happens until there is a slab on the ground where you're like, all right, all this time, all this effort, sometimes all this money, all this the resources and energy that you poured towards getting the build to a point. I remember the builds that I've done over the years. I'm like, fucking gold, the slab's down. Shit's actually happening.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, I don't give a fuck about that. I love it that you've gone to the end,
Yes.
but I thought you were going to say the start.
No, definitely the start is a good way to begin the journey. And it is like, yes, you've got something tangible. You've got a big piece of concrete there. Woo, it's exciting.
It's called the foundations of your house, by the way.
Big piece of concrete. Have me as your build support coordinator.
Yes. Kieran's actually asking. So Kieran's who works in the marketing team here.
Yes.
Have we decided who's he's going to build support is going to be? So
Listen,
depends on how much of a pain in the ass he is.
Yeah.
So we'll have
tread
to
lightly on that one.
Hey,
It'll be a massive pain in the ass.
Well, you work with him. He's your boss. Be careful. He's listening.
Hey.
Oh, he is now, isn't he? Jeez. I take it back, Kieran.
No, I'm definitely going to be the build support coordinator for that job.
All right.
I did say to Fran, I want Kieran. I do. I've done great with Daniel, who's behind the cameras right now.
Oh, you built his house investment.
Can confirm.
Can confirm.
Great
Love
job.
it.
Yeah. So I definitely want to do Kieran. However, anyway, if Fran gets Kieran, if anybody else of the
Or
build
Kelly.
support,
Or KB.
yeah. Oh,
Mate, you got some competition.
I don't know.
You've put the balloon up, but how about you let him choose?
Nah.
Sorry,
Ain't
Kieran,
having
you
it,
get no
ain't
choice,
having
mate.
it. No choice, just stuck with this one. Anyway.
Tell us about, we've quite often have some clients. So I'll go back a bit. I built this business model, Tammy and I on the whiteboard that we bought for $50 off Gumtree after old mate walked me from the other job. That's 2 jobs I've been walked from.
Ooh.
That's why I started this and went, it's unlikely I'm going to walk myself.
Oh.
But anyway.
There's a chance.
I don't know. Your wife's still there, mate.
She's
So
the boss. Everyone's got a boss. Everyone's got a boss. I'm like, what did I need when I was overseas, being pulled from pillar to post, didn't have a time back here? So there was no one like Axon that I could rely upon when I was building my property portfolio as a punter. So I'm like, right, let's make sure that no matter the client's circumstances and no matter the very dynamic workspace that every one of our clients work in, we've got this little phrase, he must be the fucking busiest digger in the world. Some of the clients that just don't get back to you, you might
Just disappear.
Fuck, he must be the busiest digger in the world.
I do know.
So if you're the busiest digger in the world, just please put some energy towards getting back to some of us that are trying to help you. You've got a case study of some clients that live over in the US though, that have built the property from afar, and they just finished writing a bit of some notes when you did the end of build hot wash with them.
I've got my
Can you
notes.
maybe just sort of filter through and just give the audience there an insight into, all right, if you're living in Darwin and you're building a house with us, you're on the same time zone, give or take half an hour. It shouldn't be too fucking hard, let alone these clients that are literally across the other side of the world.
Yeah, definitely. So now the first thing that is my favorite thing to do when it comes to, our tactical partners that we work with is telling them and teaching them about who our clients actually are and how their life works and how, that they're not going to be able to drop the hat and do something if you don't give us a bit of notice. So that's definitely my first one, is that we know our clients, we know their lives, we know, you know, the mums, what they're doing right now when husband's away or wife's away, whoever's away, what life's like at home. So just slow down, you know, cool your jets for
Managing
a moment.
their expectations.
Yeah, managing their expectations. But that's definitely my first one. But when it comes to our clients that are, you know, away or overseas or doing anything, we have plan A, B, and C. We have it all. We got your back. So the biggest thing that I found so heartwarming for me is that they just said your communication and the Build Support's communication was military structured, so exactly how they're used to.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
You're welcome is the answer.
But it was just straight to the point. It's no fluff. Tell me what I need to do. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Tell me, am I going to be going through a slow period? Am I not going to be going through a slow period? What's the next step? What's upcoming? Just straight to the point. And they loved it. They loved the clear communication and everything. And I think that was just, it was heartwarming to hear because, you know, they are very, obviously, what is the word when you're away from
Dislocated.
something?
Dislocated.
That's
That's
the
a
word.
technical term for in another area.
Yeah,
Somewhere else.
they are
Yep.
dislocated from, you know, Australia and their
Overseas,
build.
yeah.
And I still gave them that warm and fuzzy feeling, which was amazing.
Remind me, which part of your build was done when James was away? Or not? Or was that Justin and Kat?
No, that was ours. So
Right.
it was nearly everything. It
Right.
was all the hard
So
stuff.
you've experienced what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
And now you're delivering what you're talking
Yes, you remember that process and risk brief? You said, "Hey, Caitlin, I'm looking at you. You're building this house. He's not. He's over somewhere, wherever. You're building the house, so you
Yeah.
give me the process and risk brief." And I stayed up till midnight doing
about.
that.
You reckon she was nervous during the job interview, stayed up to midnight studying like a
Studying the
fucking
PNR.
university
Love it.
exam, which
Yeah.
was amazing.
Hey, I had Justin and Kat there again, my best friends and clients of Axon, but they were there sitting with James, having a few beers, and I was sitting there watching the process and risk brief, taking my notes.
And they're going, don't you miss anything. He'll sack you.
Well, I gave them my binder and my notes after that. That was rude. Whatever.
Just go back into it. Yeah, go.
Yeah,
for it.
Paul Cooney's just jumped on too. Great, thanks for jumping on, Paul. But he said, can confirm being hands-off overseas to the entire process. Living overseas was easily 4 chefs hats out of 3. And that's obviously a testament to, you know, to the Build Support, which is Caitlin and the rest of the team.
At the top there, Kelly's like me. I think that's the talking about Kieran's build. So you can
Yeah.
you
a
can
bit of
do a
competition.
paper, rock, scissors there.
All right, maybe.
Trent's also said Fran is awesome. So yeah,
Love
Fran's
her.
built a couple of houses there.
Definitely.
And then Tammy will let me know.
Kieran's got
whatever
a
that
bunch of
was that
women
we were
falling
talking
over
about.
each other to get to it.
Yeah.
I think she was going to tell you when you need to walk, mate, is what she's
Oh,
referring
okay.
to. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Mind your words, then.
We'll have a daily feedback cycle in the Turner household, which I'm very
That's a
much a
good-
part of.
That's a good marriage.
That's what I mean in receipt of. I'm never giving the feedback. I'm receiving the feedback. So yeah, what else did they happen to say? Like, so clear communication, sort of hands-off approach, no dramas. But what else did they really find comforting from afar? And they're still over there, by the way.
Oh yeah, they are. They definitely are. But one of the biggest things that I loved hearing is that, you know, Dave was their property specialist, and they said they appreciated the real world information that he was providing. I have, you know, the property that he presented to the clients. Hey, guess what? My investment property is down the road. I have done what you have done or what you were about to do. I've built in the location. And
Dave was saying that to them.
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
and
yes.
Dave was like, you know, my property is down the road, and I can let you know like what's happening with my property. I can let you know my rental yields. I can let you know how much it's gone up, which is amazing to hear. But he done that for them, and you know, it did put their mind at ease, which was amazing.
More relatability. Yeah, absolutely. More skin in the game.
Yeah. And again, that builds the trust with, you know, property specialist, coach, and Build Support.
Speaking of coach, you've heard me say this for many years, like such as the importance of the Build Support team. Virtually no one comes back and wants to build another house with us or provide a review on how awesome the coaching series was, even though it's the foundation for everything.
Robbie, I'm still waiting.
No.
Still waiting for
Right, and
that one.
everyone's like,
No.
no one gives a fuck about
No.
the little houses we make and
The
the, arrows
timeline
and the
and
timeline
I've
and
had
the cash
two.
flow
I've
and the
had two.
strategy and the, you know, taking into account maternity leave, whatever it is. What did these guys say about that though?
They
Because Luke
said,
was their coach.
yes,
Yeah.
Luke was their coach. They said 100%. We loved the plan. We loved the graphics. We loved the little arrows joining where the equity was going, where it was coming from, where it's going to be put to. They frothed over the Luke pretty much, and his graphic design skills. They did say that.
I think that's a stretch, graphic design. But
Well,
sure.
listen, that's their words. I'm not gonna say that. They said Luke and his graphic design. I was
Love
like,
it.
okay, he can build our website next. All right, marketing, you're out of a job.
I don't think he's not that clever. But to that point though, isn't it amazing when we take someone through the coaching series and they've got a complete plan and it's all mapped out, synchronized, cash flow, concept, strategy, etc. I quite often, when it's all done, I'm like, all right, I'm going to show you a success package now, but I just want to dwell on a point for a second. Imagine doing all this with no plan and no strategy and no timeline and no cash flow. Like, imagine doing that. And everyone's like, no way would we even think about that. But I'm like, you know what? There's tens of thousands of people in and out of the ADF community that are buying property right now with nothing that what you've just got, and you pay $350 for it. Yep. So it's just something that I'm now highlighting to them even more, so then we can get more feedback about the coaches.
Well,
That was a joke.
Fishing for some feedback.
Well, in all of the reviews we have and all of the clients that have gone through the Build Support lane, which yes, they love us. I have had 2 clients. This is the one that we just spoke about is the second, but we have had one that has said that they liked your plan, the God document,
Yes.
the God
document created by me.
Not a God.
I wasn't
letting you
inferring
know.
that. Nowhere near it, mate. Nowhere near it. So yeah, really, it's amazing to get that feedback. So, what's the takeaway for everyone else out there watching right now? Those that have used our services, as per Paul's, bit of feedback there, they know that everything's going to be taken care of for you, no matter what dynamic circumstances are happening in your life. Those that are watching right now going, right, what makes these guys different? Well, aren't they're just going to find a house and build it for me? Yes, obviously that's the event part that takes place, but there's so much more in the margins and on the peripheral about what actually, goes ahead there to give you ultimate peace of mind.
And it's the stats, don't lie effectively. When we've built over 500 properties and not one of them is stalled because someone is overseas or away or deployed, is an absolute testament to the process and the team that's supporting them through it.
Yeah, so good. Like, that's, numbers don't have emotions. Numbers are there. So you're absolutely right. So, the fact that we've done that with over 500 properties, and as you rightly say, none of them are stalled, yours ain't going to be the first one. Whoever's that means, whatever that means. Speaking of stats, another thing that I'm just so proud of is everyone's willingness to contribute to the stats of the respective team leader to then present to the team every quarter and at the end of every financial year. So we've been, very, very measured now and accurate, that we don't run the business off a gut feel. We run the business off what's the data telling us. Have you got a couple of key stats in your end that sort of might wow the shit out of someone?
I sure do. This is why I'm wearing glasses.
All right. This is something I prepared earlier, she said.
Important stuff now.
This is something I did not prepare earlier. Fran did this. Numbers makes me anxious sometimes.
She
so I
prepared
can't do the
it.
stats.
You just got it.
She prepared it. I got it. So yes, biggest one here that we did on our last quarterly planning, which, we love to do those, is that on average, the build period for some of our properties have been 28 weeks to build from start of construction to handover of keys, which is amazing. Now, this is, yes, on average for our normal builds, which are...
Oh, this is across multiple areas with 5 or 6 different builders and multiple types of properties.
Yes. And even, some of our properties that we did, like a certain properties we did, which were two-story terraces, which... might I add, were absolutely amazing. They built in the similar time frames as well. And that's taking into account the fact that they have to do, 7 or 10 lots of properties at the same time. So, hustle them.
And it's an incredibly important stat. It's without doubt, one of the most top questions that I get or that we get as coaches when we speak to someone for the first time is, how long is the build going to take?
Yeah.
Right. Because they know that, or some people know that there's interest associated with that loan. And so when we do our planning, we need to be able to sync all of that in with the timeline to make sure that, it's safe and controlled to acquire that property. So to have that fidelity in the numbers and know that generally speaking, it is 28 weeks across most builders in multiple locations gives us that clarity to give to the clients up the front.
Yeah.
And anyone that's been following the macro property market over the last couple of years, 18 months ago, like when you first started,
Yeah.
Ooh,
it was tough.
it was tough.
You were not actually loving it a lot.
I was not loving it a
Because you were
lot.
coming to the office and delivering bad news
Bad
or more
news.
delays or more lack of access to trades or materials every day.
I'm just having like a memory
I know.
like
Triggered.
flash, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh God.
Do you remember what I used to say to you? It was like yourself, Nat and Fran, right? I'm like, I know you're hurting. I know this is
Yes.
tough. I know you're not enjoying it right now, but please rest assured that this shall too pass.
Yes.
And then when you pop out the other end, and we're now where things are like almost back to pre-COVID levels and things are normal, think of the levels of the depth of experience you've now got from going through that really shitty time and persevering and getting to the end is now just paying for itself. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. And a lot of people didn't actually understand that, yes, COVID had finished and, you know, we weren't seeing that in our day-to-day life. But the building industry was one of the last industries to release that effect of what
Yeah, there's a
COVID
lag.
had on it. There was a massive lag, and the bushfires didn't help. You know, the crises around the world didn't help the building industry as well. It definitely affected it. And sometimes, you know, people weren't taking that into consideration. However, we were beating the drum. We were helping our clients. We were helping our builders, our tactical partners that were all involved in this. We were helping them along the way, but it was not a fun time.
But it's a good little example and a case study to use. Like, 18 months ago, it was going to take you more than a year to build your house.
Yeah.
Now we're down to like 6.5, 7
Yeah.
months. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you like literally, first and foremost, you get the item that you're buying in your name quicker. Either moving in it for your own home or, doing the investment property, and you're saving yourself 10 grand in bloody interest. Just purely because the circumstances and the physical environment of which the houses are being built is just different now, i.e. better.
And I think the builders and the location is incredibly important, because I think about, I spoke to a gent today who built in Perth recently, and it was nearly a 2-year build, and that was only last year and this year, right? So in certain other locations in Australia, there are issues still with the building industry, but certainly not, when we do our review each quarter, the locations that we operate in, with the builders that we've used for the last nearly 8 years, that's all definitely in the rearview mirror.
For one of the success stories that I put on our Facebook page, and I hope everyone's enjoying those success stories, by the way. I pour my heart and soul into those. You'll have quite a few coming your way.
All
'cause
the coaches do,
There's
yes.
a heap
Yep.
of clients that you coached back in the day that are now getting to the end of their
getting
first
close.
build.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
guess who's writing that success story? Not me, because you know the clients.
Chat GPT.
Oh, no. For the record, I've never used
Absolutely
ChatGPT,
not.
and if you do and they come out stellar, I don't give a fuck. I'm an outcome focused sort of
Hand
guy.
on my
Right?
heart, I won't do that. No.
So I really, really hope you guys are enjoying the success stories and just getting to know different people's circumstances about where they were, what they did, and what's happening now. But one of the clients that I recently did a success story with, they lived in Perth at the time. This is Kate and Geordie.
Yes.
And her very first question
That's
to me
right, I
was,
remember that,
how
yeah.
long's this build going to take? Because they're like, nah, we're just going to do, they got burnt by a previous firm, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, how long's this build going to take? I'm like, well, for one of the builders that we use, and which is the builder they ended up using, they're building the house in like 5 months. In 20 and a bit weeks.
Yeah.
So she's like, really? I'm like, I don't know exactly where you're going to buy yet, but we're having our first initial phone call. This is not one of those firms where you have 2 phone calls and an EOI gets dropped. Right, so if
Or you get pressured,
All
sign
that.
on the dotted line.
Right, so I'm like, but if everything works out and you guys want to be able to build in this particular location, I'm telling you, I will allocate your build to that builder. And fucking hey presto, you guys have all read the 5-star review that they wrote since then. So it's definitely it being the build time frames of which you guys are now responsible for communicating is massively on everyone's radar. But thankfully, it's settled down a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It's just very consistent.
Yeah.
I've just realised as we're talking, and I can't believe I actually haven't thought about this sooner, but for case study wise, I've now done a build where, yes, my partner has been overseas and Axon has been there to help me, but I've also done another build during COVID times as well. So I can relate
Of your
now
own home.
Of my own home. So I can relate to clients when they are experiencing delays. And we are experiencing delays with some of our builders and some of our properties today, and it is due to weather, trade availability, depends on
But the
how many
delays are
houses.
minor. The delays are of a week or two here, not
Clients are
fucking
now-
3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Correct. Clients are now like, oh my God, a week delay for weather? And I'm like, lovey, I'm feeling ya, but my bill took 2 years.
How's this?
2 years.
Lovey, that's a
Lovey.
river. Hey, let's just take a quick little break from that for a second. Well done,
Yes.
Caitlin. That was a good little input there. Kieran's saying, I'm multitasking right now. I've got the live on the left part of my screen and I'm reviewing my land and build contracts on the right. It's a little
my
overwhelming
God.
to read through it all, so it's great to know that I've got the legend. Shania has my back. Peace of mind. Please read that in conjunction with your solicitor's executive summary as well,
Yes,
Kieran.
must.
That's the first
Yes.
thing you should be doing.
Yep. Where's Shay when we need her?
Karina has
There
said,
she is.
I've got the live on and giving Luna a bottle. Since I'm also a great multitasker, maybe I should be your build support coordinator.
Oh, all the
Kieran.
girls are coming
That's to you,
in.
Kieran. Thanks, Shay, for summarising it for you. That's boom, boom, boom. But all those people had great growth, even though those delays paid
Yes,
off. Well done,
absolutely.
Tony.
Yeah.
It's perfect. What about another stat, though? So I asked you, what's your favourite part of the build? And you went, when we find tenants at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a bit of an indication about how those stats are looking right now.
Yeah, so last quarter, on average, 8 days from handover to a signed lease. And
So we're not talking a number of weeks after handover. We're talking a number of days.
days.
Wow.
8 days. That's amazing. And as I said to you today, as we, looked at what we're going to chat about today, and I say this to all of my clients on the fixing call we do in the middle of the build as a refresher about what's coming up, that it is not our main goal here to have the high rental returns coming in. Our main goal is to get tenants in there, minimal days sitting on the market. And, it's working for us. It is working for us absolutely, because all of our clients have been over the moon lately, especially in the last quarter, that yes, it was 8 days between handover and a signed lease, and that's what we want.
And how many properties came to market then? Was it 22, 23, 24? Between 20 and 25 was my recollection.
Well, you've just asked me a stat that I did not have down, but
Sorry.
I think it was
Question-
about
question
23
without
to
warning.
25.
Yeah. So we're not talking there's only 2 properties and it's average of 8 days.
Yep.
So there's a fair spread, ladies and gents, of a width of data there that we can take a look at.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of the difference between people potentially going for higher rent versus vacancy, what's the so what out of that, right? So what if they go for higher rent and they spend longer, on the market? What does that effectively mean for them?
Well, effectively, it does mean that they've missed out on rent for however many weeks, and they're paying the fully drawn down loan.
Yep.
So that is interest,
mortgage.
full
Yep.
mortgage by themselves, which we all don't want to do.
Generally, at the end of the build, it's like $3,500, $4,000 a month.
Yep.
So we're talking $1,000 a week.
Yep.
So if you are trying to gun for the higher level,
And if
you're trying to get an
chasing,
extra
like,
$20 a week,
Yep.
and it's going to take you an extra 2 weeks to do so, why would you try and get $20 a week if it's going to cost you $2,000 in the first place?
Exactly.
It just
Correct.
doesn't make sense.
Correct.
Now, we're not saying to undercut the shit out of everyone.
No, we're not.
There's a balancing act, right?
Yes, there is. And we're definitely looking at what the area is doing at that time. So no, we're not confirming a rental price point when your house gets to practical completion. It's another 8 or 10 weeks until, you're ready to hand over the property. We are looking at it just before the property is going live online. And we want to make sure that we are checking out what the market is doing. So yes, as our scenario says, we want to undercut the market a little bit, not a lot. And that is, yes, to make your property stand out the most.
Yeah, love it. From a coaching perspective, let's just take a quick step back.
From build support.
The bridge that gets drawn between the coaches and the build support is a little activity we do called understanding people's property obstacles.
Yep.
So sure, people want to know where they're going to buy. They want to know that the builder that we're going to choose for them is viable.
Yep.
They want to know they're going to have the right floor plan and the right level of inclusions and when the building inspections are going to get done, etc. I'm like, no worries. And then I'll get to the end, I'm like, but you haven't mentioned the bit in the middle that we
big bit,
pride ourselves on. I'm like, please tell me that you don't want to have to draw yourself away from your family and your very busy life and your time poor circumstance that most people are already in to then try and project manage this build by yourself. And they're like, oh, no. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that at all.
Mate, I've done that before on my own property and I wish I didn't. Ugh. Enter Axon.
It's crazy, hey.
It's certainly, it's something I don't think people fully appreciate when we talk about the obstacles. And, they say, hey, yep, location, got it. what about supervising this build? You know, you've spoken to me about highly deployable kids, etc. They go, oh yeah, no, it'd be pretty tough. But then they get to the end of the build and they go, oh wow, there was a lot in that. That was completely taken care of. We had absolutely no input if we didn't have to. And I think that's when they really feel the true value of that obstacle that's effectively, overcome for them when we get involved.
Yeah. Speaking about bridges, the bridge between the end of the build and someone putting a plan in place to buy another property or do another action as far as their wealth creation goes.
Yep.
One of the things I know you love doing is the end of build hot wash.
Yes.
Called a hot wash for a reason. Most of you should recognise what that sort of military term is. And certainly, Ryan, from your experience in the Air Force, Air Forces do after-action reviews / hot washes
Debriefs,
better than anyone else.
Maybe we should rename it to like the end of build AAR then instead, just because everyone
It's the end of build hot wash. Anyway, right? It's but your rank is left at the door. Your ego's left at the door. Any blame is left at the door, but then you dissect the fuck out of what has occurred. And you generally focus on, we acknowledge the good things that occurred. Sweet, keep doing that. That's cool to sustain. But the other things from a improve or fix perspective absolutely need to be spoken about a lot.
Yes.
So when you've got a continuous improvement mindset like we have, how many processes do you think that the build support team alone has improved since you've started based on client feedback?
I can't
Another
even.
question without warning. Lots is the answer, right?
Yes, lots. I can't even tell you how many. I think that these end of build hot washes, sessions, whatever.
Look at the girls there
look at
doing
us.
end of
Look at
build
us.
hot wash.
Yeah. I definitely think they have been extremely valuable. They have helped us shape build support to what it is today. And, before BCF, before Caitlin and Fran, and now that's what I call us, BCF.
There you go.
I know, I'm so funny. Before us, it was build support, which was amazing, but we have now learned to grab that feedback, whether it is about our processes, whether it's just about personally how I talk or communicate with our clients. We are now harnessing that and we are changing build support.
And that, as Robbie said, also goes all the way up to the coaches as well.
Yeah.
There's feedback about property specialists, there's feedback about us, and it's that opportunity for the clients to give open, honest, frank feedback on how their journey was and, what potential ways they can see we can improve to make the next journey better for someone.
100%. And even I feel like on my first few end of build hot washes, I was dreading them. I did not like them. It made me very, very weird.
But that's because the people that were building houses were in tumultuous times.
Yes.
So, of course, they had plenty of feedback.
But that feedback, I feel, has shaped me to who I am now, 2 years on in the company and as a build support coordinator. And again, we all have room for improvement. I definitely ask for feedback on the coaches. Looking at you. Joking. But no, we all have room for improvement.
Of course we do, yeah.
I just love it. And I think it's amazing. And it definitely helps us on how to be better and how to improve for our clients.
Yeah, it's such a really important element of the business, which a lot of people would shy away from.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. The house is finished.
Catch up.
Haven't heard any complaints. Everything should be good. Fucking booms, away you go. So, one thing I love about you is that, someone's like, oh, when should we be talking to someone about the next steps? You're like, there's the link for your coaches. Get in the calendar
Right now.
and just have that chat.
Correct.
Even if it's not due for another couple of years. You literally just finished doing a coaching session right before this. And so did I when I introduced James to Dan and Rach. I met Dan and Rach 2 years ago. It was in October 2022 when they had their coaching session number 1. And they were not in a very strong position. But here they are now 2 years later and they're about to start building their own home.
What a journey.
You've just finished coaching a client who's not going to be ready to go for another 2 years. And how are they feeling?
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty pumped. He was actually the gent that reached out to us last live.
Ooh.
That's right, yes.
And he asked us the question, should I reach out to Axon when I've got my deposit or or where should I? The unwavering response from all three coaches was now.
And everyone on the chat.
And everyone
They're
else was
like,
like,
now.
Get into it now, don't wait. And so, we've had a couple of coaching sessions over the last few weeks. And, one of the things that we uncovered from his plan was that the path that he was going down, i.e. waiting to reach out to us when he had his deposit, was 16 years away. Right, so
I cannot guarantee that I'll still be sitting here in 16. Axon will be well and truly alive and kicking in 16 years. Fuck, how old are you going to be then? Almost as old as me. Anyway.
Oh my God.
But so 16
he
years is a
thought-
long time.
Because he hadn't, he was in his own bubble of I'm doing the right thing and I'm on my path. But objectively looking at the plan, you can go, hey, mate, this is, numbers don't lie, as we said before. Let's just show you what your savings pattern at the moment is going to put you on trajectory-wise for deposit costs, and it was 16 years. Now, we certainly uncovered other things that he could do to expedite that.
Just tweaks.
Yeah, little tweaks to his cash flow and some other things that he had going on that have now brought that timeline forward to sort of a 2 to 5 year savings timeline.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So, going back to, should I wait? Nah.
No.
Because you'll be waiting 16 years, this guy, and, chasing a moving target in terms of, a property market that's just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
Mate, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
And well done for that gentleman to be open
Yeah.
to the feedback,
Yep.
open to the changes and the improvement. Like, how good is it when we suggest tweaks to one's lives they've got going on?
Yep.
The next coaching session we do, we're like, right, let's update everything. Done. I'm
Yeah.
like, fucking gold.
He
Like,
was already,
so good to coach
already on
those
the way.
people, aren't
Yep.
they? Yeah.
And, I said to him at the end of the first session, how are you feeling about it? It's pretty sobering. And he said, that was the reality check that I needed. But he also said that what he was doing now was never going to get him where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately the reason why we do so much planning up front with clients. Yeah.
And I've had a few clients on the fixing call. So the call that we do with the client midway during the build as a refresher on what's going to be happening
So
on
you
the
do
last
the introduction,
stage.
then the fixing.
Then the fixing.
Yep.
And then, and to build hot wash at the end. On the fixing call, the last few fixing calls I've done, particularly with a single officer, she had said, the last stage of my build is coming up. When do I start linking back in with my coach about doing another property? And I went, right now. I'm going to send you the link and you're going to book in with your coach. And on the same day that I sent her an email to say, congratulations on securing tenants for this much money for a 12-month lease, which was amazing. I rocked in the door at my own home, and James was her property specialist presenting her second property. And
Wow.
I went, holy doly. I was like, I'm so happy for you guys.
That's
like,
amazing.
congratulations. She brought her partner on board, which was amazing. And I just said, dude, you've got tenants and you got a property being presented to you right now. Like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And that was, for me, was a very good.
Those two ladies are now just on a massive trajectory.
Yeah. I mean,
Definitely.
So good.
They've got a portfolio inside 12
it's
months.
good.
Yeah.
Isn't it
was-
funny? Like, having our property is not a portfolio. There's no plural in property. Portfolio is multiple,
More than.
than one.
Yep.
So yeah, that's bloody well done, mate. That's just
Yep.
bloody excellent. Because here's the thing, Ryan, you and or Luke have been taking all of the lion's share of all the new inbound leads.
Yep.
And that's the business model we got set up,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah.
I know you guys love it. I've talked to brand new people over the last 11 years. And
We're younger, we're fresher, all that
I'm
sort of
not over it, far from it, but it's certainly I'm giving you guys the opportunity to have more and more experience come your way. So the majority of I did 22 calls since this last Facebook Live, and 11 of those calls were with people that are actively putting a plan in place to buy another property,
Wow.
be that second, third, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's just bloody phenomenal, and again, it just comes down to the last taste that they've got in their mouth is how did I go having the house built for me? How long did it take to find the tenant? Did the builder build the house within the contractual time, et cetera, et cetera. So if none of those things occur, virtually none of those people are coming back around again. So it's bloody phenomenal, mate. Yeah. What would you, as we sort of finish up here in the last couple of minutes, what would you say to someone? What would you say to someone who's even thinking about getting started in property? So you've got two properties now, your own home and an awesome investment property.
Yep.
Your investment property's almost doubled in value, which
yeah.
is so cool.
So good.
And your own home, not far from here, has gone up a couple of $100,000 as well,
Yep.
easily. So
Yep.
you bought very, very well.
Yes.
Even though there was some tumultuous times throughout
was.
the builder of your own home.
Yeah.
What would you say? What would you either say to your younger self? This is another question without warning.
Oh,
Say to your younger self, or say to someone, in their early 20s, 30s, whatever it is, they're sort of thinking about getting started with property.
just take that first step. Just book a call and put a plan in place about what you're going to do. Because, the biggest thing for James and I when we first reached out to Axon was, maybe we'll wait until you finish the deployment. And then once we've got the money, then we'll start the process. But if we did that, we wouldn't have got the banger that we got right now. we would not have been there, because that's when COVID hit and, you know, life was just going crazy. And I think that was the best time. And it was, you know, James, he done one right thing by saying we're going to go out to Axon and we're going to become clients of Axon. So just do it. Don't be scared. Don't think I'm not ready. I don't have the cash. I don't have the plan. I don't have whatever. Just take the first step and book a call.
Something else that just sprung to mind, I'm so glad you just told that story, is that you don't love your investment property, do you?
No.
You actually don't love the look of it.
For it too.
I do have a name for it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on. Of
course
online.
you are.
Am I allowed to say
It's your
it?
property.
You've said fuck tonight. You can say what you're about to say.
So I call my investment property the Pooh Brown house, and that's because I had no input, zero input to the layout and the
colour
colours
scheme.
of the property. So for a lot of the clients right now that are about to get their properties presented to them or had their properties presented to them, stop fucking thinking about the colours. It doesn't matter, okay? The rent's still going to come in and the equity's still going to grow. So as Robbie said to me on my property presentation, so what do you think, Caitlin? Do you like it? I went, I don't like the colours. And he went, moving on.
I didn't even let her explore it. I'm like, no, that doesn't matter.
No. So, and now 4 years on, it's about to be 4 years or 5 years old, 4 years old, I think, in October this year. My tenants have been living in that property for 4 years now, and, you know, they love it. It's their home, and, you know, I love it for them.
So
but
good.
I don't love the colours.
Yeah. So the key takeaway there is, like, to be fair, I do want everyone that buys a house with us, be it your own home or an investment, to love the item you buy.
Yes.
No dramas. I do want you to love it. Yep. But these are the things I want you to actually love. I want you to love the fact you're doing something for your future. I want you to love the location that you're buying in, because the Pooh Brown house has nearly doubled in value.
It sure has.
447 to now 850 or so, right?
Yep.
I said nearly doubled. I know the numbers. So I love it. Doing something for your future. Love that you have bought in the right location. Love that you are putting a roof over someone else's head, like another family, you know, to go in there. And then, of course, if you love love those three things, then naturally you'll love the item that you buy. But when I reckon people that have a suboptimal experience with us are the ones that dive into wanting to choose the colours that go around the bottom of the fucking laundry floor.
Yep.
For instance, like that's the level of detail, right? The colour of the grout.
I don't even know what the colour of the grout is in my owner occupied property.
Mate, it's like it's.
There's a lot of shades of white.
I get it. Like, so isn't it funny from a coaching perspective? And we absolutely have this conversation. Like,
Yeah,
how
of
involved do you type level and frequency of communication? How involved in this do you want to be? Like, I literally had delivered a success package to some wonderful couple up in Townsville on Monday night, and then she said to me, she goes, about colours and everything and layout and floor plan and stuff, like how much input do I have in this? And I'm thinking, fuck, here we go. This is going to be another Caitlin circumstance where she wants to like choose everything. I said, how much do you want to be involved? She's like, 0.
Yes.
I was like, good, first and full. Good answer. Great answer.
I'll take them as my clients.
Your house is going to be professionally designed. It's going to have professional colour coders that go in there. The Pooh Brown doesn't really exist anymore.
No.
So there's going to be elements to it. She's like, great. I don't have the bandwidth to sort of deal with all that. So it's just interesting to see, having a Pooh Brown part of your house out the front has got nothing to do with how much is going to go up.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, let's last couple of minutes. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm trying to just give everyone, get your Axons working properly when it comes to mindset. If you're focused on building wealth for yourself, don't fucking worry about the colour of the tiles in the laundry. Like, it makes 0 difference, right?
Correct.
Victoria said, I love these clients. I remember back in the day, we thought we were killing it with our savings. Had a chat to you guys and got shook into reality. We ended up saving double our initial amount and cut our bullshit expenses. Fast forward, we are now nearly finished our second bill with you legends.
Yes.
I love so much.
Amazing.
I'm so proud of you. Good job, said Shania. Bloody amazing. Brown was in the trend at the time. Yeah, it was.
No, Angie. No,
and
it
it's
was
your
not.
husband that built the house, Angie, may I say. Neutral, it's not ugly. Awesome answer. Fuck, I've lost my thing. Awesome answer. We love that. Tamara's also said, haha, Robbie left me at the shop when they pulled out the grout colours. After an hour of choosing the tiles, he couldn't stand another minute and drove off. And she's like, oh, look at all the grout colours. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here. See you later. And Kelly reckons that Brown is now on trend.
Right. It's coming back. There you go.
Sure. Okay. Well, you move into my investment property then and let me know what it's like.
All right. As we finish up, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
No.
As told you, the time was going to fly. We've
Yeah.
covered off on a bunch of different stuff there. Loved all the comments coming through. Thanks so much for the interactions there. So, yeah, building a house is not scary.
No.
When you've got the appropriate levels of support.
Correct. So get yourself Axon and get yourself a Build Support member, and we'll fight over you because it's fun and we're awesome.
I tell you what, let's do a little story in another Kieran and Layla haven't even got their finance approved yet, so they don't know who's going to be the Build Support member. But
we should put a story
next,
up.
probably by the Facebook Live next month, we'll have a far better indication.
All right, I'm going to fight the
There'll
girls.
look at you, you've got
Let's go.
the boxing gloves on, ready to go. So we'll find out who Kieran and Layla are going to have as their Build Support team member, and I'll do a little interview with them.
Oh, yes.
Right,
Let's do
interview
it.
with them and the Build Support member.
Yeah.
I'll host it and go, right, how